Okay, sir, can you state the name of the police department and tell us about your complaint?
Yes, it's the 120 precinct in Staten Island, New York.
Okay, the 120th precinct in Staten Island, New York.
Yes.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Okay. On Monday morning at about 11 o'clock, hey guys, me and my wife were driving on a service road over a highway, and we got to an intersection, and we were standing at a red light. The police officer approached and asked us to take the right turn and to stand aside. Now, I want to clarify the exact details. Both me and my wife were without seat belts.
Okay.
I think the reason was that's why he stopped us. When the police officer got out of the car, he identified himself and he asked us to present the driver's license, the registration, and the insurance. I have told the police officer that the car that we are driving is not our car, it is our mechanic's car, because our car is in the mechanics and we got this as a loaner. Therefore, we don't have the right papers, and since we left in the morning in a hurry, I forgot my wallet and I don't have my driver's license. But if he wants, we live about half a mile away from the place that he stopped us, and if he wants, my wife can go and bring my driver's license, or he can accompany us to the house so I can show him the driver's license. He immediately went to say that since I don't have the right papers, he will have to arrest me. And my wife was trying to tell him that he should not do that and whatever. He got upset with her. He told me, "Sir, please step out of the car and you are under arrest." While he was doing this, he took me out of the car and he put handcuffs on me. My wife really got very, very nervous and she called 911. Now when he saw that she called 911, he got really, really mad. He went to my wife. She was sitting in the passenger front side, and he demanded that she will pull out the key out of the ignition. Now, we drove at that point an Audi A6 car, in which the keys were not going to be released out of the ignition unless you do something with the lever of the transmission. You have to pull it up in order for the keys to be released. Now, the officer tried very hard to pull the keys out, but the keys won't come out. My wife told him that she will show him how to do it. And she actually pulled the lever and pulled the keys out. At that point, he believed that she is trying to run away or do something. I have no clue. He immediately ran around the car, pulled my wife very brutally out of the car, and told her that she is under arrest while she was talking to 911. Should probably ask for 911 for the recording because the phone was on at all time. At that point, the phone fell on the floor, but it was still up there. At that point, he made an officer under distress or called a whole bunch, like 5 or 6 police cars came over, and each one of us was put in a different car, and we went to the police station. We were searched, everything, so on and so forth, and we were put in cells. At that point, it was about 12 o'clock when all this was done. Then it took time till they processed us, so on and so forth, and we were told that we have to spend the night over because they couldn't bring us to the judge that day, and we have to come to the judge the next day. Now, we were allowed to make a call. My wife called a friend of ours that is a police officer also. At about 4:30, she came over to the station, and they were going back and forth and this and that and whatever, and in which case, one of the came out and said, "You, sir, can go home, but your wife will have to stay here overnight because she was arrested. Tomorrow she will have to come in front of the judge." I refused to leave. I told him we're not going to leave without my wife. If my wife is not leaving, I'm going to stay as well. I stayed. We were put on the cells, whatever it is, so on and so forth, till the next day. In the meantime, at about 12 o'clock, my wife really suffered from a panic attack. She fainted in the cell. She was yelling for help or anything, and nobody came. At a certain point, even some police officers that were around, they laughed at her, imitating the way she is vomiting and so on and so forth. Next day, both me and my wife went in front of a judge. The police officer at a certain point came to the cell before I got to the judge, and he kind of like, I can say, apologized to me, and he just handed me a ticket, and he said, "Well, you were fine, you didn't do anything, or you didn't say anything." I didn't mind, and he gave me a ticket, and my wife went in front of a judge, and she got a probation for 1 year, so on and so forth. All of this actually took place on Monday and Tuesday of this week. Now, since then, my wife is in very bad shape. She is very afraid. She's even afraid to leave the house and whatever. And she is constantly crying and whatever. We spoke to her doctor and gave her some Pristic, so on and so forth. But we're looking for advice what we can do. Right now, I took pictures of her hand. She's got swollen points and small rips on her hand. Tomorrow I will take her to a doctor just so he can prove everything that I'm saying about the hand, so on and so forth. This is my statement.
Okay, let me give you a couple of suggestions and some of my thoughts. Okay, excuse me. Did your wife, but I have a few more questions first. Did your wife agree to a plea agreement of some sort to get rid of the larger charge, the more serious charge?
Yes, actually, it's not a plea agreement. They actually, she pleaded guilty to the seatbelt charge. I guess the resisting arrest was dropped.
Okay, that's great. That's what I need to know. So
we had a city-appointed lawyer, and the city-appointed lawyer said that there's not going to be any criminal record of hers and all that good stuff.
Okay, perfect. So they didn't charge her with resisting arrest after all this was over. They simply charged her with the seatbelt violation.
That is correct.
Okay, that's excellent. So she didn't have to reach any agreement on that at all?
No.
Okay, and you don't dispute that you weren't wearing your seatbelts anyway, is that correct?
Absolutely not. I admit that we were not wearing seatbelts at the time.
Okay, so in terms of how this actually could have turned out, you weren't disputing the seatbelt issue, and if he was only writing you a ticket for that, you would have accepted it.
That is absolutely correct.
Okay, now I want to go back to some of the choices that the officer made, and then I'll give you some assessments that I can make as an expert. I've testified in federal and state court, so I'm going to give you what I would say if I was sitting on the witness stand and a judge asked me the same question you're asking me. Tell me about this situation, what do you think? And what I will say just before I get started in my overall assessment is I do think this appears to have gone much beyond what it should have been. And I need more information to determine if the officer broke rules in escalating the situation. Now, my question to you, to get to that question answered for me, I need to know, at the time he accused your wife of resisting arrest or trying to flee, did you say that he instructed her to actually try to operate the vehicle or try to stop it or put it in park or something?